I thought I'd just quickly show you guys my kind of my cleanup setup. So I've got two ultrasonic cleaners. I just recently bought a newer one, a larger one. And then I don't run the metal baskets that these come with because that can scratch up your specimens. Instead, I have these plastic baskets that I use. I'll set those in there, fill them up with water, and if I'm using iron out, what I'll do is I'll set the temperature. You can control the temperature as well. Make sure to set the temperature. Usually they're pretty good during the winter time. Sometimes they won't heat up. Usually they'll kind of, just because of all the vibrations and the energy that's being put into the water will heat up. And what I have experienced with iron out is that it works better under hotter water conditions. So, but if it's colder, then I'll set the temperature up on these things to run them higher. And then what I do is I add in enough iron out that it's super concentrated, so that actually some of it starts to it won't even absorb into the water. Like, you mix it and there will be iron out at the bottom. That way, when I am treating my specimens, and you can see these two will have to go for another round because they still got rust and stuff, but these specimens over here, these are all specimens that I'm happy with what they look like. They were a lot rustier and now they're not. And same with these specimens. These all had like a pretty good coating of rust, like oxides, and the treatment worked, so they're good, they're cleaned. But if they aren't, then I just do the step multiple times, and what happens is, because the water is super concentrated and there's iron out at the bottom, at least what I've experienced, is that as the stuff is getting treated in the ultrasonic cleaner, the oxides get broken down by the iron out and they get ripped off of the specimens. And then the ultrasonic cleaning also helps that process. And then eventually the iron out that's at the bottom that hasn't dissolved in the water actually is absorbed into the water, because as the iron out is being used up, the water becomes less concentrated in iron out, and so fresh iron out can get into the water and basically help further break down. But sometimes you'll get pieces like the Titanite Hill has this sometimes, where you'll get this really crusty iron oxide covering, and so you got to do a lot more. You can see this is a lumpy, partially battered piece of titanite, but I'm more interested in the crystals up top here. They actually look whole, so I think it would still look good as a specimen just for the top whole crystals. Because you can see right there, the crystals there are still intact, the titanite crystals, but they're just covered in this really thick iron oxide kind of crusty layer, so it's going to take a lot longer for the iron out to clean them out. But I thought I'd show you my setup. I can't show it to you guys as it's running because actually the vibrations really mess with the microphone on my phone camera, so that when it picks it up, it's like really bad. But I thought I'd just quickly show you guys my setup, so you guys, because I think some people have asked before, like, how do I clean my specimens? And I've kind of said, but I don't think I've ever done like a full video setup and explanation of how I do it. And like, you can run this without iron out, of course. I kind of like this method because I'm a pretty busy person, so I don't always have time to sit down and scrub my mineral and rock specimens for like an hour or so. So instead, I just fill this up, put the specimens I want cleaned up in the bucket, give them a quick rinse off to get the most of the dirt off, and then the stuff that's stuck on there, I just let the ultrasonic cleaners take care of that. But you can see I have been doing pretty well with my collecting. I just got back from a week of cottaging, and I did a bunch of collecting. I hit up 7-8 places that week. I did 3 days of mineral collecting. One day I got rained out, so I didn't get to hit up a couple other spots that I wanted to go to. And so on the way back home, on the Saturday I came back home, I decided to hit up 3 spots on the way back home that I hadn't had a chance to check out, and I did those, and I had success at all 3 of those spots, so I'm pretty happy about that. And you know, I did my Tight Night Hill. That was a lot of fun. Stay tuned for that video in the future. I did really well that time around. Probably found one of my best tight nights ever at Tight Night Hill, so stay tuned for that. I did some other spots. There will be videos on those places, and you know, I just had fun. But I think that'll be the end of this video, so you guys have a good day.